pushback, if you will, some information circulating there on the weekend as it relates to dual citizenship. And it reads that it states in the past, U.S. citizens coming to vote in Dominica have been using their Dominican passports. Under the U.S. law being enforced by the Trump administration, those with dual citizenship must use their U.S. passports to enter and leave the U.S. This poses a particular problem for those wishing to come to vote, because under the same U.S. law, a U.S. citizen cannot vote in any other country but in the U.S. That's what has been circulating. The U.S. government, through the U.S. Embassy, have officially informed the Dominican government of this existing law. So effectively, any U.S. citizen coming to vote in Dominica risk having their the U.S. passport confiscated on the re-entry into the U.S. Please share with the labor right friends. A little conflict there. So I tried to reach out to the former ambassador there, to former ambassador, Dominican ambassador to the UN, Mr. Crispin Gregor, to shed some light on basically what may be going on at this time. Mr. Gregor, are you there?
Yes, I am, Matt. Good morning. Good morning to you, Matt, and good morning to your listeners.
Yeah, so the information basically suggests there, and I'm trying to confirm, in the past, U.S. citizens coming to vote in Dominica have been using their Dominican passports. Under U.S. law, being enforced by Trump administration, those with dual citizenship must use their U.S. passports to enter and leave the U.S. This poses a particular problem for those wishing to come to vote, because under the same U.S. law, U.S. citizens cannot vote in any other country but in the U.S. Mr. Gregor, can you share some light on maybe the information that you might have and we don't have?
Yeah, well, Matt, first of all, let me say that I don't believe that the Trump administration has said anything on this. I have not seen anything in this respect. Of course, many changes are happening as we speak. But on the question of dual citizens of United States and their rights, let me say that Dominica is one of the 8 countries in CARICOM that allows dual citizenship with the United States. Those countries are Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and Belize. Now, there's nothing under the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act that bars dual citizens from voting in their other country. It is required by U.S. law that if you travel to the second country that you're a citizen of, let's say like you're a Dominican citizen, but you're also a U.S. citizen. The U.S. does not. For the U.S. citizenship takes precedence. So you're an American citizen, whether you have Dominican citizenship as well. It doesn't really. It's not a concern for the U.S. All the U.S. requires is that you obey the laws of the country. So voting in Dominica as a U.S. citizen is not illegal. It is allowed as long as you are not violating the laws of Dominica. So whoever is promoting this idea on social media is incorrect. You can vote as long as you meet the requirements to vote in Dominica. You can vote. That is why, with that fight on the electoral reform, the question of residency is a question that we've been dealing with for a long time. And in the proposed draft bill, I believe that the proposed law wants to abolish residency requirements. So it means that you don't have to, that 5-year limit of whether your name stays on the list would be an issue. So let me say that the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act does not bar you from voting because the U.S. has accepted that you are a dual citizen. So as a dual citizen, you can vote in both jurisdictions. You can vote in the U.S. and you can vote in Dominica.
Here's what I heard circulating on the weekend. Of course, somebody was sharing on social media. I think it was in Marlon. They'll share this. I'll try to get a conversation with him later. But this is a voice that has been circulating there on the weekend.
To have a stamp.
Listen to that.
Dominica on ongoing no CARICOM national line. Wanted.
Let's go to back.
And you became a U.S. citizen. Very clear on this right now. If you are a Dominican at birth and you became a U.S. citizen like myself, contrary to what others would have wanted, you cannot go to Dominica on ongoing no CARICOM national line. Okay? When you return to America and you want to use your U.S. passport, that U.S. passport would need to have a stamp, entry stamp into Dominica on it. Okay? If it doesn't have that entry stamp and you came from Dominica, they will bring you in secondary, they will confiscate the passport and they will denaturalize your ass. All right? It is real. All right? Persons like me don't have that problem because I don't use my Dominica passport. When I travel to Dominica, I go in the visitors line and I put my big stamp on my US passport. I don't use the Dominican passport. I've not used a passport in years. So good luck to those accepting tickets to go vote in Dominica. Now, entering Dominica on a US passport as a visitor and participating in an election in Dominica in your capacity as a Dominican citizen is also illegal. So once your name is submitted to the Department of the State Department, you too will be denaturalized. So this basically changes the game for the Labour Party in terms of their vote import process. All right. So good luck to them, and good luck to the people who like go fly on them in New York that like to take ticket and go down and vote St. Joe.
All right, so this is what has been circulating. But you're saying this cannot be true, Mr. Ambassador.
No, I don't know where Mr. Marlon, whatever his last name is.
Girodel.
Girodel gets his information, but he needs to go and read the specific law of the United States. And so, as I said, Matt, as long as you're a dual citizen, there is nothing in the U.S. law that says that you cannot vote in the Dominica elections, because Dominica is one of the countries that has a dual citizenship recognition by the United States. So you can, as long as you're a dual citizen, you can vote in your other country. There's nothing that impedes that, nothing that stops a U.S. citizen, a Dominican who is a U.S. citizen, to vote in the Dominica election. The issue now really is what the law calls for is that you have to, as a U.S. citizen, you have to obey the laws of Dominica, so that if the law says that you after 5 years you can't vote because you're not resident, then that is the case. But it doesn't bar you at all. In all of those 8 countries in CARICOM that I mentioned, their citizens, their U.S. citizens who are also citizens of those countries can vote in the election.
Well, it's something we have to research, I suspect, and dig a little deeper, because somebody say here from overseas that might know something about it, that Mr. Ambassador Gregoire is not totally right. So we might have to dig further and find out just what is going on based on Trump's new. Go ahead, sir.
They should say why I'm not totally right. It's clear what the law says. So, as far as dual citizenship is concerned, you are a citizen of both countries, and by being a citizen of both countries, you can follow the laws. And as far as voting is concerned, the issue really, Matt, the reason why some people are raising that issue is because, of course, the Labour Party has been paying for people's tickets to come down to vote. Well, that I think is problematic. That's actually a situation that is
a red flag. A red flag, you'd say, a red flag. Yes,
it is a red flag, but it's also unethical, and it's also not fair to the other political parties who don't have that largesse in terms of money to bring people in. So that is where, and I think that's one of the contentious areas of the electoral reform. So that if you're not living in Dominica and somebody's paying your ticket, a party is paying your ticket for you to come, then that is problematic, and the opposition forces are not happy with that. But it's not illegal for people to come to vote.
Yeah, here's a question somebody's asking. So why can't a dual citizen like yourself cannot contest election and you can vote?
Well, and that comes down to the law of Dominica. The Dominica's law does not allow for somebody with dual citizenship to sit in the parliament. They can vote. A dual citizen can vote, but the law forbids a dual citizen from sitting in the parliament. That is the difference. So in my particular case, I wanted to be a candidate in the 2009 election, but because I am a dual citizen, I would not be allowed to sit in the parliament.
Another question somebody's asking, and people are asking now, where can you find the information that you just spoke about as it relates to, Dominicans or dual citizens can vote? They want to look for themselves to find out just where you got that information, Ambassador.
They have to go to the Department of State website that deals with travel, and they will find the information on what dual citizens can do and what it doesn't say specifically that you can't a dual citizen cannot vote in elections. All it says is that a dual citizen just has to obey the laws, and voting is one of the rights of citizens. So if you are a dual citizen, you can follow the laws of Dominica, which the Constitution gives you a right to vote, and you can vote. There's nothing that stops you from voting. So as I said, the issue really in Dominica is not about whether dual citizens can vote. It's whether dual citizens of Dominica are being paid to come down to vote. That is the issue that we have to address.
Okay, but with Trump, anything may be possible. But again, as we monitor Trump, I think we spoke some time ago, and you did say that you don't think, in terms of the deportation of illegal persons that are coming to the United States or staying over time, and we see it's going on. ICE is actually on a rampage to remove non-Americans or to who are overstayed in that country or may have committed crimes. You're concerned about that, Ambassador?
Well, Matt, on the question of people who are here who are undocumented, I don't like to use the word illegal. Undocumented people, if they commit crimes, of course they will be deported, and I knew that would happen. What concerns me now is that there are a lot of undocumented people here who have not committed any crimes. Yes, they have overstayed their visas, but they're employed. They're working in fields where there is a demand for labor. For example, in agriculture, a lot of the people who are harvesting the crops on the farms, they are undocumented. A lot of people who are working in the construction industry, they are undocumented. So it is of a concern to me that the plan is to deport millions of people. And you've seen what has happened already with the Trump administration. They're putting pressure on countries to accept the undocumented people, even in places where they're not from those countries. For example, El Salvador is agreeing to take in people from any country that's undocumented in the U.S. And one of the most concerning developments is that the Trump administration is now talking about deporting undocumented people who have committed crimes to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. So a lot of this thing is quite fluid. We don't know how many people will be deported. Some definitely will be, but I can tell you there's already pushback from people who own farms and people in the construction industry that they're losing their workers. And how do you replace them? Because some of these jobs are jobs that Americans don't want to do. And it is undocumented people who are providing the services to do those things. So I can only say that this is a very fluid situation. Things are happening as we speak. So we really don't know what will unfold. But yes, deportations have started.
It has started, of course, in all the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. St. Croix, St. Thomas. We've seen one or two Dominicans being deported. So, but the process, it takes a little while though, because you have to go through a judge, and that would clarify
That's
whether.
correct.
Yes, it's taking some time. But
Yeah, it can take some time. And as I surmised, Matt, before all of this happened, that there's going to be a lot of court challenges, a lot of cases in the courts. Groups that are pro-immigration are fighting back and delaying, But the problem is, once you're caught by ICE, once ICE picks you up, and you will be detained. And how long you will be detained, no one knows, because you have to be brought before a judge before you can be deported.
as a matter of fact, I just came back from the U.S. and places where persons would be gathering there, in the public. It's basically empty because persons are scared. They don't want to be sent back. They don't want to go back home to Dominica or any of the other Caribbean islands.
Well, Matt, I can tell you there's a great fear in the immigrant community about this, because they're picking up people at churches, they're picking up children in schools. Interestingly, in New York State, New York State has prohibited ICE from entering schools, and I believe that they're pushing now to bar ICE from entering churches. So there is pushback both at the state government level and the pro-immigrant groups that are also fighting in the courts. So we'll see, Matt. I can only say that this situation that's evolving here in the U.S. is concerning to the whole country.
Somebody's asking me to ask you, what do you think, or what are your views on Trump's plan to allow white South Africans to enter the U.S. as refugees? Have you heard about that?
I have heard of that. But the good thing is that the white South Africans don't really want to come here, because life is so sweet for them in South Africa. Why would they come to the U.S. and be immigrants? But yes, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Mr. Musk, who is President Trump's one of his top advisors, is a South African. He's a white South African, and he has put that idea in the president's head. But I will say that the problem in South Africa is one that has to be remedied. You can't have 7% of the population, which is white people, who own 70% of the land. That is just an untenable situation. And I worry that if that is not addressed, we're going to have a situation like Zimbabwe, where the government will have no choice but to confiscate white farms. So South Africa is really at a juncture where the question of land has to be addressed, and the white people in South Africa must accept that they have to give up some of the land that they own. I've been to South Africa many times, and Matt, it's really astounding that the black people really don't have land in a country that is theirs. The white people only came here in the last century, and they control 70% of the land. That's not an acceptable situation for stability.
Going back to the question as it relates to dual citizenship, somebody's asking, can a dual citizen vote in America and vote in Dominica? There's a question there coming from a WhatsApp message.
Yes, absolutely. A dual citizen of the United States can vote in the United States, and they can also vote in Dominica because they're citizens of two countries. That's what a dual citizen is. You're a citizen of the United States. At the same time, you're a citizen of Dominica. So you can participate in Dominica's elections if you're a dual citizen. There's nothing to impede you from voting in Dominica.
There's a lot of pushback on the comments that you made this morning, Crispin, and somebody's saying here, Mr. Matt Crispin is not right on that one. Marlon is right along. The opposition here should report to the State Department that you cannot be voting for an established government in the U.S. and come to Dominica and vote for a communist government that will put the U.S. security at stake. Crispin is not right. Well, is Dominica communist? That's the question I want to ask. Is Dominica a communist country?
Dominica is not a communist country.
That's a question I just asked. Yes,
we need to get that straight.
Yeah.
You know, Matt, sometimes people take a partisan view of things, but there's an objective view of things. And there are laws, and you cannot go around those laws.
True.
Of course, the Dominica government has manipulated the electoral system by bringing in voters to give them advantage. That is the problem. That is the political problem we have. How you address that is through having new laws dealing with elections. And what is being proposed now is for ending the residency requirement that is in our electoral laws. Now that is one of the contentious areas right now with the electoral reform. How we get over that hump, I don't know. Remember, the government has 19 seats in the parliament. They can literally pass whatever they want, and I will not be surprised if they pass that new law that says that there will be no residency requirement. But barring the residency requirement, there's nothing that stops a Dominican dual citizen, a U.S. Dominican dual citizen from voting in Dominica.
A big question, a big question, Crispin, and I'm kind of disappointed, if you will, that a lot of the U.S. aid may be stopped as a result of the Trump administration. You saw that happen there in recent weeks, that they're moving to stop the U.S. aid to other countries like Dominica, and I'm sure other countries around the world.
Yes. Well, Matt, that's a great concern that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is basically going to be put out of business. It has been shut down already for 90 days. What the Trump administration has said, they're reviewing the work of USAID, and they're going to close that agency and incorporate aid to other countries under the State Department. The USAID was an institution established in 1961 by the Kennedy administration, and it has been in place since then. But the Trump administration has decided that they will close USAID, and so that means that in this 90 days of review, that is really going to be a problem for a lot of countries that depend on U.S. aid. Dominica and other CARICOM countries, we get some U.S. aid, but not a lot compared to the big countries that get U.S. aid, like Egypt. Countries like Israel, Egypt and Israel get the lion's share of U.S. aid. But then there are a number of African countries that get USAID that is really needed, like in Sudan. Sudan is a country that's in civil war right now, and they depend a lot to feed their people and prevent famine from USAID. You're talking about Somalia, dependent on USAID. Now, one of the programs on the whole African continent has to do with HIV/AIDS and preventing HIV/AIDS. That's going to lose funding at least for the 90 days. We don't know what will happen after the 90 days. That's unclear. But for now, USAID is out of business.
But it appears that based on what I see, and everybody's saying that Trump is upsetting his base. You know, some of the actions he's taking right now is upsetting the base, and pieces are saying, "Will Trump last for 4 years?" That's the big question at this time.
Well, that's one of the unknowns, Matt. One of the unknowns. He's clearly upsetting the global order.
And you're not surprised.
I'm not surprised at all. He campaigned. The thing about Donald Trump is you have to take him at his word. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. He's not wavering. And in this 100 days, we have to watch this. First 100 days, he's implementing all of his new policies through executive orders. But a lot of these executive orders will run into problems in the courts. So already we see a lot of court challenges to what he and Mr. Musk are trying to do. And so we'll see. I can't say for sure what will happen next, but we have to watch this remaining days leading to the 100 days. That's the important period to watch. And a lot of changes are on the way. People are being told to stay home and don't come to work or work from home. We saw that with USAID. We saw some other parts of the U.S. government also facing executive orders. So we are now processing all of these, these executive orders that the president has passed, put in place, and we are just now processing the impact of these executive orders.
Locally, I just want to transfer locally to the conversation we've been having. The Prime Minister, of course, and his Labour Party is observing 70 years, the 70th anniversary. And last week during the news conference, I did ask about, he recognizing Pierre Charles and Rosie Douglas and the other leaders of the Labour Party, and did say that these leaders, these former leaders, would not welcome that kind of recognition there. What's your take on that one?
Would not recognize what recognition?
In other words, I did tell him that a lot of criticism comes his way on the Labour Party, that they have not recognized persons like Pierre Charles and Rosie Douglas, and they need to pay more attention to these heroes in the Labour Party. But he says if he knows these people right, that they would not, fall for this recognition that we want to give them.
Well, I don't know. I can only speak from the point of view of how the public sees those people and the kind of reverence they have for them. I would have liked to see far more done by the Labour Party for those to honor the memory of those people, those two gentlemen, and other leaders of the Labour Party. I'm happy to see that there's a plan now to rename the bridge after Phyllis Chandolfrey.
Yes.
I think that's a good move. She contributed quite a bit to Dominica and to establishing the Labour Party and fighting for the rights of Dominicans. I think that similarly, I would like to see Pierre Charles and Rosie Douglas be honored as well. They've named the schools after both of them. I would like to see, for example, on the Pierre Charles Boulevard in Grand Bay, a bust of Pierre Charles. There's a place for a bust of him, but after 20 years, nothing has been done to do that. And the same thing for Rosie Douglas. I would have liked to see Rosie Douglas, a bust for him in Portsmouth or in the area where Bush where he represented.
What about a bus say for Patrick John? He did mention Patrick John should be recognized as well. Of course, he brought us into independence in 1978. So what has to happen? Of course, I spoke to the wife on the weekend. She said what is happening now is pure hypocrisy because now they want to recognize PJ, but they're just pure hypocrites.
Well, I tend to agree with Mrs. John on that. For a while, Patrick John was treated as the black sheep even within the Labour Party, and he made a significant contribution. He's the one who took our country to independence. There should be a bust of him somewhere. There's nothing that I know in recent memory of being named after him. Even, for example, his great contribution to football has sort of been whitewashed and not recognized. So I think that we should treat our leaders in a different way, with greater reverence for their contribution. Let me congratulate the Labour Party on the 70 years of being in existence. In the last years, the Labour Party has kind of strayed from its original mission. I can't say that it is the party of the little man as we knew it, but parties go through changes. But the fact that the Labour Party is still alive after 70 years is an achievement to be commended and recognized. I think that the Labour Party could do more for its people. And here's some things that I thought the Labour Party should have done, even the 70th anniversary. Put out publications of the speeches of the leaders like Patrick John, the speeches of the leaders like Rosie Douglas, Mike Douglas, Pierre Charles. These people, we have that documentation. So for young people, they should be able to read what these leaders stood for. And I think that's one of the missing dimensions that the Labour Party has to address.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, I want to say thank you for joining us this morning in this discussion. And on my final question, well, how will you compare Labour Party of yesterday to the Labour Party of today? Big comparison there, or a comparison that it's in other words, it's chalk and cheese at this time, Labour Party of yesterday and Labour Party of today. Chalk and cheese?
No, I think there's some arenas where the Labour Party has continued to be true to its mission, which is representing the poorer people of Dominica. The Labour Party has historically done that well. I think that what happened in 2000, the Labour Party came back to office, but then soon after, with the passing of Rosie Douglas and Pierre Charles, the Labour Party was basically hijacked by the Freedom Party, and that makes a big difference. So really, that is where I think that in some ways the Labour Party has kind of lost its way. It's not the Labour Party that we knew. It's not the Labour Party of Edward Oliver LeBlanc or Patrick John or Mike Douglas, Rosie Douglas. It has gone in a different direction, and to me, it's more of a Freedom Party that is with the cloak of the Labour Party.
Okay.
And so I'll leave it at that, but that's how I see it.
Thank you, Ambassador Crispin Gregoire. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Matt.
All the time. Get some views when we come back. After this.
Transform your meals with the superb quality that is found in Robert's product. Become a master baker with velvet cream shortening. Add a touch of love to your food with sunflower soft luxury spread. Perfect your bread with Glow Spread margarine. Add mellow cream, the tastemaker flavor to all your gravies, soups, and stews. Robert's, for the love of cooking. Distributed by Fine Foods, the biggest distributor of the biggest brands found in Dominica.
The batsman is ready to face the bowler. Dominica, it is coming. Cricket West Indies Championship games between Windward Islands Volcanoes and the combined campuses and colleges. Come to the Windsor Park Sports Stadium from 12 to 15th of February 2025. This game is going to be record-breaking. Come and see the batting and bowling skills of Captain Hodge, Alec Athanas, Stefan Pascal, Sunil Humphries, Gilon Tyson, and the rest of the Spring Dream Team. Look, this batsman has hit the ball so hard, he's landed on the financial center, way beyond the boundary for a spectacular Super Six. Come and support your team from February 12th to the 15th. Entrance fee only $10. Students in the uniform comes in absolutely free. The batsmen are ready. The bowlers are more than ready with their googly leg break, leg by, short leg, long leg, square cut, leg by. Everything going back into the boundary. Don't miss Cricket West Indies Championship games between the Windward Islands Volcanoes and the combined campuses and colleges. February 12th to the 15th, game time, 10 a.m. daily. And look, the ball end up in the boundary again.
Big news, Dominica! Do It Center is now even closer to you with the opening of Do It Center Express, conveniently located on Cork Street, right next to Fresh Market. Get all your home improvement essentials fast with everything from tools and paints to home decor and more. Plus, enjoy the same great service you know and trust. Now, just a quick stop in the city. Visit us today at Do It Center Express, your partner in home improvement, now closer than ever.
NCCU, your community financial partner, brings to you Beyond the Mortgage.
Affordable rates, affordable price, NCCU, everything nice. Go do a course, go take a trip. Beyond the Mortgage, 246. You take the mortgage already, you make your pocket go empty. Beyond the Mortgage, NCCU will keep you steady. You need to buy a new fridge, you want to purchase a settee. Get rid of medical bills and invest in the green energy. Beyond the Mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. Everything nice, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. NCCU for life, 246, yes, 246, wow, 246.
Beyond the Mortgage, 2% savings, 4% retirement solutions, loans available at 6%, and our special BTM line of credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Ooh, oh, AFC. Ooh, oh, AFC. Looking for some place to go. Red variety meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. KFC. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
If you know your favorite store, dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram as Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us. Visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
All right, Dominica, 919. We've spoken about a lot of issues. Read a conversation with Ambassador Gregoire. 9-9-10. I got a message here from the wife of the former Prime Minister of Dominica. It reads, Patrick John was not recognized in life nor in death. Right now, they want to make PJ a Pope, Pope Patrick, or Saint Patrick. Hypocrites. Nothing named after PJ. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 6164257. Why this hypocrisy, somebody's asking this time. 920, hello, talk to me, yes?
Matt, good morning.
Morning to you, my brother. How are you?
Matt, we've heard the deception of Mr. Blackmore, where he talks about this, and he sounds as if once you're on the voters list, you're eligible to vote. Yes, that is true. But in the old law I'm talking about, there is residency requirement, and that is where the hitch is. It doesn't matter if you're a dual citizen. When you come to Dominica to vote, you would have had to have been resident here for a given period. You know what that period is, Matt? Because nobody talks about it. And the other thing is that what is the enforcement? What enforcement is in place? What steps can the opposition take to make sure that that residency requirement is followed? Nobody's talking about that. We know that the Skerritt administration is trying to get rid of the residency requirement. Another point is, if you take the residency requirement, are you taking it out for all Commonwealth citizens who also have a right to vote if they have met the residency requirement? Does that mean that all the Nigerian students at All Saints have the right to vote? And that is a significant voting block right there in Goodwill, Roseau North, and Roseau Central, where they live. Are you taking the requirement off on all Commonwealth citizens? Because that means the day the Nigerian lands, they can vote. And if they meet, even today, as the law is, if they meet the requirement, they can vote. The opposition should target them, because I'm sure that the DLP is already targeting them, registering them, and getting them to vote. So it is the residency requirement that is the main point, the main contention, the main safeguard to protect the opposition from having the DLP bring people in today and tomorrow they vote, and then they leave the day after. It is that residency requirement that we must put our foot down and safeguard and keep. That is the real key. All the rest of it is a smokescreen. Blackmore talking about once you're on the voters list. No, you have to meet the residency requirement. You must have an address in Dominica. You cannot come with an American address and vote. You must have a Dominica, and that there should be a way to verify that address. And it also goes for your driver's license, Matt. If you change your residency, you shouldn't. A lot of people don't do it. You should inform the police that of an address change and update your driver's license. People just don't follow these laws, and they fall by the wayside, and they're not enforced. That is the problem. Enforcement of these laws. Thank you, Matt. I've said.
All right, thank you. I think Marlon sent me a voice note as it relates to a message there by Mr. Ambassador, who says that he was wrong in his earlier message. Let's listen to Marlon.
Okay. He said a lot, which can be up for discussion, but I would like to highlight two things that he said, which helps to drive my point. Number one, he said that when you naturalize as a U.S. citizen, you are agreeing that it takes precedence over others. It is now your first citizenship, and the other one is secondary. This is very true. When you sign the N400 form, you basically pledging allegiance to the US flag, and you're agreeing that this is not your first, and the country of birth is your secondary. This is why they require you to travel with your US passport and not your country of birth passport, even if you were born there. Okay? Number two, you ask Mr. Gregoire, is there a law? Is there any law that states that you can vote or participate in the political process of another country in your capacity as a visitor to that country while holding US citizenship? And he said, no, there's no law that says that you can't do it. Matt, if I direct everybody to go to the travel.state.gov website, where they will see, you could search travelers and dual nationality. There's a lot of information that you can read. And they specify all what you can and cannot do, all what you should not do, all challenges you may face. And it does not specify that you can participate in the political process. It says that you're required to follow the laws of that foreign country. Full stop. And by laws, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I would like to think that this means the traffic laws, the criminal laws, don't go killing people, don't go, doing certain things that are against the law. Don't drink and drive, wear a seatbelt, and those kind of things. I would like to think that's what it means, okay? So voting is a constitutional right as a citizen, but if the US citizenship takes precedence over another citizenship, and you're required so much so to use your US passport and not that Dominican passport to enter Dominica, to allow yourself to return because you pledge allegiance, I would like to believe that participating in the political process of another country as a visitor, well, bearing allegiance to the US flag and declaring that it is your first citizenship would be against what the Constitution of America may require you to do. Now, Crispin Gregg was stressed a lot on the Dominican law allows it. The Dominican law allows it. Yes, the Dominican law allows it. But he has not been able to say the US law allows it. He repeated over and over that the Dominican law, yes, they allow anything in Dominica. Anything, Dominica is no law, no constitution. But he has not been able to specify and say that the American law allows it, because you could read everything and it does not say that it allows that. So if people want to listen to Crispin and take their chances, go ahead. Now, the idea of you cannot be deported right away, it has to go for a process. Let me just correct all you on that. This administration have been deporting people straight through, no matter what your status is. There was a situation the other day, a young lady who is married to her children's father, okay? He's a citizen. Her paperwork is in process. They were waiting the interview for her to adjust her status. She got deported, okay? Now, right now, they have to find an attorney to fight her case. But while the case is being fought in court, she is in her home country right now. Now, the speed at which they are deporting people and the numbers we're talking about, okay? When people get deported right now, yes, you have a right to object, but you are not in the country. They're not keeping you here for you to object. They're sending you go, and then you can object from over there. Your people in the US can get an attorney to fight it for you, but while they're fighting it for you, you over there in your home country. Now, guess what? There's only so many cases that the court can hear at a time. When you have an influx of cases, it creates something we call backlog, okay? So when you have thousands of people coming now to file the same case objecting to deportation, you will take a while before you get a court date and a hearing where an attorney can argue on your behalf, okay? So the idea that people may still be saved because an attorney might save them, yes. Ultimately, an attorney may save you and win the case for you, but that is after 1 or 2 or 3 years of you being in your home country that you chose to go and elect a government in. So probably it might be good for some of those liberates because they will get to experience where it's bright and creamy. All right. So, Mr. Gregoire is former ambassador, experienced experts, but guess what? There are other people who are not former ambassador, who not nothing, but we have brain. We have a brain. Common sense is anyways. Have a good day.
All right, that was Marlon Trudell. We're going to come back, Dominic, after
Life
this.
Goodwill for your agriculture tools and accessories, plants, seeds, an array of plant pots, automated irrigation systems and installation, garden maintenance service, and so much more. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call or WhatsApp us at 235-3480. Follow us on Facebook, Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums, Belfast Estate Limited. Over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunglass juices, Topper snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Auto Trade introduces our newest line of lubricants, Valvoline, America's first branded motor oil. Valvoline has been formulating and improving motor oil longer than any other brand. From the world's first racing oil to the world's first synthetic blend, Valvoline has been trusted in engines around the world for over 150 years. Make the switch today. Choose Valvoline, the original motor oil. At Auto Trade, we only recommend the best in quality because at Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle. It's a relationship. Valvoline Lubricants, now distributed by Auto Trade.
Cause I'm on my way.
KFC delivery is here. Just place your order at www.kfcdominica.com, Facebook or WhatsApp at 614-2633 and your order will be delivered to you. KFC, it's good.
Cause I'm on my way.
Bloombox brings you our new branch right in the heart of Roseau to make things even easier for you to get all the best products we have in stock. Bloombox Roseau on the corner of Hanover Street and Drury Lane, next to Richard Wholesale, the same block as Western Union. Bloombox Roseau, a farmer's favorite place. New location, same great products for all your planting needs. We're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call us at 235-3483. Bloombox, your one-stop shop for everything that grows. Let's bloom together.
Introducing the new Caribbean paint from Do It Center. Duran paint and wall covering from Do It Best Quality Paint, giving you the same great interior and exterior quality, the same color matching technology at an incredible price. Available in flat, satin, and semi-gloss. Visit us on Goodwill Road or call our paint department at 255-6896. Do It Center, your partner in home improvement.
ESA Trading Limited welcomes you to our cosmetics department for a wide range of body care and maintenance supplies, shampoo and conditioners for both natural and processed hair colors, hair oils, hair gels, and a wide variety of hair foods such as herbal, bergamot, carrot oil, olive oil, and more. Lavender scented essential oil for a full body massage, mosquito repellent spray, itch stopping creams, and triple antibiotic ointment, dry mouth gel, a wide variety of toothpaste and mouthwash, rubs for aches and pains, including ice rub, Q-tips, and cotton balls. baby care products, feminine care products, hand and feet care products, body lotions, deodorants, body sprays, perfumes, body mist, and much more, all at unbeatable prices. Check us out today at our location at the corner of Kennedy Avenue and Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard. ISA Trading Limited. We are making a difference for you.
Don't hit me 'cause I'm beautiful. Don't hit me 'cause I'm beautiful. Cash and carry, cash and carry, cash and carry, cash and carry. At Cash and Carry, we offer the finest selection of products that cater to your every need. From groceries to household essentials, our shelves are stocked with quality items that are sure to impress. And guess what? We're not just great for wholesale, we're also your go-to place for all your food service needs. Located right opposite the Immigration Department on King George V Street in Roseville, we take pride in providing you with an unforgettable shopping experience. Our friendly staff is here to assist you in each and every step of the way. Ready to place an order or have a question? Call us at 316-0184 or 255-6823. And carry, cash and carry, cash and carry, cash and carry. We can't wait to see you.
The debate continues here. The numbers are 449-3095-96 and 97. Let's listen to this voice note.
Good morning, Matt, and good morning to all Dominicans. Matt, I have been listening to the discussion on dual citizenship and the citizenship of other countries as it relates to voting in Dominica. Matt, I did not hear Ambassador Gregoire emphasize that our constitution gives the guidelines as to when a person can vote in Dominica. If you're a dual citizen, Matt, you live abroad, then our constitution does not make provisions for people who live abroad to vote. What it says, Matt, that you have to be living in the constituency where you're registered to vote for at least 3 months. How many of these dual citizens who come into Dominica to vote reside in Dominica for at least 3 months prior to voting, Matt? We all know they come in the day before and they leave the day after. So that in itself is breaking the law. It's not the US breaking the laws, Matt, because when you leave the US on an American passport and you come into Dominica, you arrive in Dominica on the American passport. The stamp that you get the stamp of a visitor stamp. In all my trips to Dominica, my passport has been stamped as a visitor. So how can a visitor come into Dominica and vote, knowing that they're not domiciled in Dominica, they have no address in Dominica? This is not right. Our constitution is what these people are breaking. The laws are being broken right in Dominica, because once you're a U.S. citizen, you cannot leave the U.S. on any Dominican passport, and you cannot re-enter on any Dominican passport. Neither can you use that Dominican passport.
All right, let's see if we can. Let's see if we can continue this voice note there. Just give us a second here. 449 just got distracted there in a minute. We're coming back. Stick around, Dominica. Stick around, Maslin. Just got a little hitch there. We're gonna come back.
In any form of ID. So I don't know, where this discussion is going as it relates to dual citizenship. But I know for a fact that the Dominican passport cannot be used as any form of ID in the US, even if you were to have dual citizenship. And this is something that we have to look at, Matt, because since 9/11, those laws were changed. You have to probably speak to someone, maybe an immigration attorney or somebody who can clarify the laws regarding how people vote in Dominica. If persons with dual citizenship can vote, if persons with citizenship from other countries can vote. I know for a fact when you go into that ceremony for citizenship, you have to denounce your country. You have no allegiance to the country of your birth. You have to denounce it. So how on earth that you are a citizen of the United States of America and it gives you the right to vote in Dominica? I think the laws that are on the books should be adhered to. And it is really, really confusing when you say that citizens can vote, persons with dual citizenship, persons with citizenship from other countries from abroad can vote. Matt, it looks like we want to have our cake and eat it. No one disenfranchised Dominicans who left and took greener pastures. But we want to enfranchise ourselves by coming home and electing a government on the backs of the Dominican people when we do not live there. That government does not govern us. It is not right. It cannot be right. It is downright evil. And that in itself is voters' fraud. Voters' fraud. That is fraud, Matt. A lot of the persons who come in to vote in Dominica, in which constituency do they live? That they can come in and vote. Which constituency? They do not live there, Matt. That is just wrong. Those things have to be corrected. And we should stand on the moral principles of our values and our patriotism and what the Constitution says. We tired flout the Constitution, we tired trample on it, we tired break the laws, and we tired put Dominicans in misery, all because a corrupt government is in Dominica. Those things can happen. Thank you.
On the telephone, hello, talk to me, yes?
Yeah, Matt, good morning to you. How was your weekend?
All right, rested.
Okay, Matt, with respect to the passport and all them things you're talking about there, I kind of understanding what the last voice note caller, the lady are trying to say, because and I always say it's common sense. People want to think of all kind of high kind of repute, but to me, it's come down on common sense. It's like you can be an American citizen coming to Dominica, and the immigration stamp you as a visitor and for you to vote. To me, that don't make sense. To me, I can understand what you're saying. That don't make no sense at all. To me, if you're a visitor, why should you vote? So I just don't know that. I just like to know a little more clarity on that to get an understanding. And what I'm saying is, everywhere you go in the world, there is certain countries, there's a certain time in certain countries you have an election. And at the end of the day, whatever government comes in place, they have work to do. They have to investigate. They have to do what they have to do, blah, blah, blah. But that is a normal thing. Now, the party of illegal has been there from creation. All presidents in America has deported illegal people. I don't think that should be a question to debate. However, we might have a concern as to how the new president conducts things. But the law is the law. For example, Matt, there was a situation in Sufria some time ago. There was a police officer who was a corporal. And in those days, they had problem with the time they stopped the music and illegal. So he stopped me on my vehicle and he asked me if I'm busy. I told him no. He asked me if I can read something for him. He called me in the station and he opened the law book and he told me if I can read this paragraph for him. After I read it, he said, it's not me, it's the law. People want to crucify me as to time of music, but I'm going according to the law. So what I'm saying, the law has been always there. There's no point people play hypocrite about it. It's just that we might have a problem as to how the new president do things. My father, in those days, Matt, when immigration was hot in St. Thomas, he had to run for his life. He had to be in bush for 5 days. In those days, immigration hot because you are illegal. So I don't see why. I mean, it's a concern as to how he do things. But we should not make it a problem. And one thing I tell the Dominicans, all of them that want to see how the president do things and don't do things, all I'm telling them is we need Elon today or tomorrow scary to leave government, they will need Elon Musk in Dominica for sure. Because the kind of thing that's going on in Dominica is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to investigate. You need a man like Elon Musk. So let the American people say what they want about their president and do. I find something with two hypocrite, and let us face the facts. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. No, the United States does not allow its citizens to vote in another country's general elections unless they hold dual citizenship or are legally recognized as citizens of that country. Here's a breakdown of the key points. U.S. citizenship and voting rights. U.S. citizens are only allowed to vote in the U.S. elections, federal, state, and local. Voting in another country's elections is generally not permitted unless the individual is also a citizen of that country. You should read this. Marlon is not 100% correct. On the telephone, 945, talk to me, yes?
Matt, good morning.
Morning to you.
Matt, so let me tell you.
I'm here.
You see, Maslin, I think I tend to agree with her. What she says make a lot of sense.
Okay.
In all that has been said, all I'm telling the people that are accustomed of coming down to vote, come down to vote. Come down, because there is modern technology. We have enough smart people in Dominica that can come together, make a list of their names, and send it direct in Trump's hand. Because Trump doesn't joke. Once Dominica send it to his hand, he will deal with them. Tell them come down. Thank you, because I will join too. Thank you.
946. Some of us may not like Trump, but that is the exact type of leader we needed for Dominica in the next 10 years to upset other Caribbean leaders and those exploiting and draining Mad Dominic by making bold moves and putting Dominica first. Matt, what Marlon's saying is true. Right now, parents are even sending their children to school with all legal documents because it is happening to students, and they're not even allowed a phone just shipped home to their country one time. So they'll then take their chances. But I know Trump and Marco Rubio have something up their sleeves for CARICOM CBI countries and one China policy adhering countries with wannabe dictators. The can has been loaded and I cannot wait. Our head hard. On the telephone, hello, talk to me. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
How are you doing, my brother? How are you?
Good, good. I understand that there is a Bajan lady who has dual citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
She bought a ticket to come to her country, but she bought a ticket on her Barbados passport. She come to Barbados, and when she was returning to the U.S., she used the U.S. passport to go back in, and she encountered some difficulty, even to the point where I understand they confiscate her passport. And so I would like to know, I would like a little bit more clarification on that. And on another note, I can recall there was some Guyanese who was living in the U.S. They were U.S. citizens. They committed crime in the U.S. They were put into jail. After their jail sentence, the U.S. packed them in a plane and sent them to Guyana. When they reach Guyana, they say, no, do not open that door. If you want fuel, we will give you fuel to go back where you come out. But where they give up their Guyana rights and they take yours, they are not belonging to Guyana anymore. So don't bring them here. Back with them. And they jolly well have to go back with them because they were U.S. citizens. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So when people, you in the U.S., you do your thing, you straight citizen. You commit your crime. When they finish this, also let you go back in society to go and live your life. You understand?
I understand.
Right.
All right, caller. 949. Somebody says an immigration deportation pandemic is spreading in America. It is very contagious. It is starting to spread around the world now. Please, people, take caution. Carry your hand documents with you so you can share with ICE if they catch you or if they catch you. There's another big activity on the weekend. The UPP had its first meeting in the Carib territory on the weekend. The Orange Party was in full bloom this past weekend there on Saturday night in the Kalinago territory. We'll share some sentiments from the spokesperson, already being referred to as the leader of that party, Mr. Joshua Francis. So there's a lot happening there. There was a lot happening there on the weekend. 449-3095. I'll share some of the views and sentiments expressed there on the weekend in Maho River. Let's take a break. We'll come back, Dominica. Take a break.
Smart Pharmacy introduces Wellness Wednesdays, your midweek stop for better health and wellness. Join us for free health checks every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Get your blood pressure, blood sugar, and weight checked, all at no cost. Plus, enjoy expert nutrition consultations, free samples, and special discounts. Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday at Smart Pharmacy. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity to prioritize your health. Smart Pharmacy, supporting you on your journey to better health.
1998, we've been your trusted one for everything you need to do your construction, from steel and lumber, window, fence and doors, power tools, water tanks, hardware, supplies, and so much more. At Max One Trading, your foundation to building success. Max One Trading, we only giving you the best. At Max One Trading, we offer delivery. Max One Trading, come from Calais and visit we at Max One Trading, your foundation to building success. Max One Trading, we only giving you the best. At Max One Trading, we offer delivery. Max One Trading, come from Calais and visit we. Come visit us today at the Foncalais Industrial Site or call us at 449-9465. Max One Trading, your foundation to building success.
From the cradle to the grave, you don't want to be no slave. You need a loan, you want to stay. Welcome and visitors today. We commitment to quality. Therefore, you and me was one big family, but now it's a community. Making life easy, yes, like ADP. No matter who you are, you can benefit. When you bring your mortgage,
with rates as low as 5% and loans for all your needs.
Open an MRA,
save for your golden years and take advantage of our savings product.
We will finance your business.
Checking accounts, small business loans, wire transfers, and so much more.
NCCU all the way.
Wow! Your community financial partner.
NCCU.
Transform your meals with the superb quality that is found in Robert's product. Become a master baker with Velvet Cream shortening. Add a touch of love to your food with sunflower soft luxury spread. Perfect your bread with Glow Spread margarine. Add mellow cream, that tastemaker flavor, to all your gravies, soups, and stews. Robert's, for the love of cooking. Distributed by Fine Foods, the biggest distributor of the biggest brands found in Dominica.
The batsman is ready to face the bowler. Dominica, it is coming. Cricket West Indies Championship games between Windward Islands Volcanoes and the combined campuses and colleges. Come to the Windsor Park Sports Stadium from 12 to 15th of February 2025. This game is going to be record-breaking. Come and see the batting and bowling skills of Captain Hodge, Alec Athanas, Stefan Pascal, Sunil Humphreys, Gilon Tyson, and the rest of the Spring Dream Team. Look, this batsman has hit the ball so hard, it's landed on the financial center, way beyond the boundary for a spectacular Super Six. Come and support your team from February 12th to the 15th. Entrance fee only $10. Students in the uniform comes in absolutely free. The batsmen are ready. The bowlers are more than ready with their googly leg break, leg bye, short leg, long leg, square cut, leg bye. Everything going back into the boundary. Don't miss Cricket West Indies Championship games between the Windward Islands Volcanoes and the combined campuses and colleges. February 12th to the 15th. Game time, 10 a.m. daily. And look, the ball end up in the boundary again.
Big news, Dominica! DeWitt Center is now even closer to you with the opening of DeWitt Center Express, conveniently located on Cork Street, right next to Fresh Market. Get all your home improvement essentials fast with everything from tools and paints to home decor and more. Plus, enjoy the same great service you know and trust. Now, just a quick stop in the city. Visit us today at DeWitt Center Express, your partner in home improvement, now closer than ever.
NCCU, your community financial partner, brings to you Beyond the Mortgage.
Affordable rate, affordable price, NCCU, everything nice. Go do a cost, go take a trip. Beyond the Mortgage, 246. You take the mortgage already, to make your pocket go empty. Beyond the Mortgage, NCCU will keep you steady. You need to buy a new fridge, you want to purchase a steady. Get rid of medical bills, invest in the green energy. Beyond the Mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. Everything nice, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage, beyond the mortgage. NCCU for life, 246, yes, 246, wow, 246.
Beyond the Mortgage, 2% savings, 4% retirement solutions, loans available at 6%, and our special BTM line of credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Ooh, oh, oh, KFC. Ooh, oh, oh, KFC. Looking for some place to go, great variety meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends, join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be, KFC. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
It's 9:57. 3 minutes before the hour. Of 10 in the morning. February 10th, 2025. Another view here. Good morning. If what Malon is saying is right, the U.S. government requires you to travel with a U.S. passport, then you would not be able to vote because the immigration in Dominica treats you like a visitor. You are given time. Even though your passport says you are a national of Dominica, what is confusing is if you're registered to vote, and as a Dominican voter, the ID on your vote will be the U.S. government might take action against you. Or if you use the government ID, the U.S. government ID. I'm trying to get some clarification from a lawyer from the U.S. who will try to clarify because it's definitely confusing. I think Malon says he has a final point. Let's listen.
Matt, a final point before I go on with my day. I don't know if people remember or if they're paying attention to what's going on in the US, but there are a group of people who participated in a pro-Palestine protest in Washington, D.C., I believe, recently. Well, under Biden, the Trump administration is now trying to find all of them, revoke their legal status, and deport them to their home country. So the people who are trying to say who is wrong and who is right, I invite you, I challenge you, contact me. Let us form a delegation and let us write officially to the State Department requesting clarity on whether they are allowing or they allow people to leave America as a US citizen, visit another country, and participate in the legal process, in the voting process, political process. Let's do it. Maslin made a very important point, which goes back to the point Crispin made, that saying that you have to adhere to the laws. Yes, the State Department does say that you have to adhere to the law. And one of the laws on the books, okay, is that for you to participate in an election in Dominica, after being out for 5 years consecutively, you have to be living there. I think it's either 3 or 6 months consecutively in order to qualify to vote. So again, all of these laws have been there, but they were not being enforced by previous administrations. This administration is very tough on immigration and citizenship laws, and they have been enforcing certain things and even over enforcing and even going over the limit with certain laws with respect to immigration, immigrants, okay? And it is hurting families and breaking up families. So for anybody to see that and still want to take their chance, okay? Because Crispin say, well, he don't know where Marlon getting his information from. I dare you to go ahead, because this administration is not the previous one. They allow a lot of things allow. For example, previously, if you came to this country on a visitor's visa and you overstay, you entered into illegal status. You lose your legal status because you overstay on your visa, the 6 months they give you, and your visa probably expire, all of that. And you get married to a citizen. Really and truly, while that paperwork is being filed, you are supposed to go back to Dominica and wait for the paperwork to file. And then you have to go to the US Embassy in Barbados to then get proper entry back into America. But people have always been allowed to just stay and adjust. Okay, it's a lot of things that the law prohibits that was being allowed. Under this administration, they will send you back and wait for your thing to process for you to enter. They are tough on immigration. So take your chances. But I invite the delegation. Let's go and seek clarity. Let's seek the clarity and we'll see who right or who wrong, or who don't know what they're saying.
On the telephone is 10:03. Yes, good.
Good morning, Matt.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Trying my best.
Matt, this is a very interesting topic. I would want to advise you to, if you could get in touch with Dr. Dion George, because he worked or works in election affairs in the U.S. And also, the last example Marlon just made about somebody on a visa who overstayed after 6 months and is now married to a U.S. citizen. and is filing, the U.S. have every right to send that person back because they overstayed already. No, he said overlook. Oh, if they don't want to overlook it now, but the person overstayed, so the person from day one after the 6 months could have been sent back, and it would be the law. It's the law we have to look at, the U.S. law, just like Christine was saying. But there is conflicting information. So, yes, I agree with you trying to get a U.S. lawyer. But see if you can get in touch with Dr. Dion George. Dr. George, if you're listening, give a call and try to clarify some things, because I know you work in that area or worked in that area. Thank you, Matt, and thanks for the work that you continue to do, educating us and providing the knowledge that we need to understand all these issues.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to get in touch with Mr. Gabriel Christian. And talk to an immigration lawyer as well. I'm trying my best. Because some of these things, our persons who are listening there needs to be educated. Somebody says I'm on Marlon's side all the way because I'm paying attention to all sides and recent events. So you mean to tell me people are still seeing this while it's going on and still going to take chances? You must love Scared more than you love yourself and your family. And sadly, there are some people like that. Huh? I think they have to get everything clarified before they take a chance and come to vote in Dominica. Well, I'm trying my very best to get in touch with some immigration lawyers there. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
I didn't want to call.
How are you doing?
Hi, fine. But I don't like the fact that people are trying to do exactly what Trump is doing here. Trying to instill fear into people in order to win an argument. So telling people like, dare you to do so and so and to take a chance. Let's face it, every day in America, there are people who are unlawfully detained by the police, people who are innocent who go to jail. Law enforcers make mistakes all the time. That doesn't mean you must be afraid to go on the road because a policeman can make an error. So the fact that someone may be pulled over on an immigration issue that has no validity and be inconvenienced, that happens all the time. It happens all the time. A policeman may come to the wrong house to arrest someone, and you may die as a result. So let's not get into that. The fact of the matter is, let's just move step by step. The last time I returned to the U.S. as a U.S. citizen, I went to a kiosk. They asked me to put my passport down, open on the signature page. The machine read my passport, checked my picture. They're not looking for any entry stamp into other countries. They are looking to see whether this passport is a valid passport. That's all they're concerned about. So this thing about if you enter Dominica and there is no stamp into Dominica on your American passport, they're going to confiscate you. The machine doesn't read for that.
But I can tell you, based on my information there, what you're trying to get to, the last time, it was sometime last year, I was traveling on a visa. And by the time I put my passport down on that machine. The immigration officer told me that. So I think they're looking for more than that. He said, "Young man, you have 2 more weeks in America, so you'll be very careful." So I think they're looking for more.
Visa. You have a visa. I'm talking about the passport.
Okay.
You have a visa.
And you're traveling with your Dominican passport?
No, I'm talking about an American passport.
Okay.
I cannot use my Dominican passport to enter America. Okay? I've got to use, unless I have a visa, in which case I'm entering with the visa, not with my Dominican passport. If I have an American passport, when I get back to America, they look, the officer, even when the officer takes, if there's no kiosk, and the officer takes your passport, he puts it into a machine, and the machine is checking the validity of your passport. And on that basis, they say, "Welcome home, Mr. Liquid." Now, when I came to Dominica, I entered with my American passport because I only just got a Dominican passport renewed last week. When I entered into Dominica, I wasn't given time. I entered on my American passport, which says that my nationality is Dominican, my citizenship is American. And I wasn't given time as a visitor because I entered Dominica as a Dominican. And the immigration officer told me, "Welcome home, Mr. Liquid." So this talk about you entering as a visitor and you can't do what a visitor isn't. I don't know where they get it from. Hey, and let me give you something that
I guess those who spoke earlier is talking about their experience. I think I can quote Marston, who said once she comes to the Dominica, she's being treated as a visitor. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I wasn't. But no, here's something else regarding the laws of the country.
Okay.
That you must follow the laws of the country. America doesn't go around asking you, "Have you followed the laws of Dominica?" The issue is when it says you must follow the laws is that America cannot defend you if you are violating the laws in the other country. That's all it amounts to. I remember when I was in law school, I was struck by something when I was doing my course in income tax, in federal income tax. It is against the law in America to bribe anyone. That's a crime. You can't give bribes, you can't take bribes. However, there are countries in which to get government business done, you've got to pass something under the table. There are a lot of countries like that. But you know what I found interesting? I was taught in law school in America. Even if America says that bribery is a crime, if you receive a bribe in a foreign country, America expects you to report that bribe as income for income tax purposes, because that is the country in which you lived. That's the law that accepts. And because when we talk about following the laws, there's something people are missing here. And I don't get on my old hobby horse, but the difference between the laws and the Constitution. Laws don't have to be enforced because even the policeman has discretion, the prosecutor has discretion. So they can say, "I give you a break." So the fact that a law is there doesn't mean that someone's checking to see whether you follow it.
Well, based on my information, Mr. Liquid, I mean, I respect your views. The ICE agents have been given a mandate at this time. Once they find out that you are illegal, and I'm talking about an ICE agent talking to me at this time. Once they find out you are illegal in the place that you've overstayed, they send you back to your country. I'm just telling you what I know based on my information received from an ICE agent. Yes.
But Matt, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what happens when you're in Dominica.
Okay, you said something about taking they might give you a chance.
No. I'm talking about a chance in terms of the laws of the country which you are visiting, not about the laws in America.
Okay.
I was talking that issue that people were talking about, whether you're following the laws in the country which you are. So the fact that a country, so for example, if you come to Dominica, you're expected, understandably, you can't insist that, well, I'm in Dominica, but I'm an American, so I'm going to drive on the other side of the road and then expect America to defend you. You're being stupid because you go into a different country, you must follow the laws that are enforced there. if they give you a chance, then that's up to them. America is not going to make a fuss up with you about that. But so I was referring to what you just talked about.
Okay.
Of course, in America, if they're enforcing the laws, they're enforcing the laws. But what I'm saying is to tell people that somehow what's happening in Dominica, that if you come and vote in Dominica because you're allowed to vote in Dominica, because here's the issue. While it is true that the Dominican law says you must be 5 years, within 5 years to vote in Dominica, if the Dominican authorities do not enforce that law, okay? So let's suppose you are in America in 10 years and you come back and the Dominican authorities allow you to vote. America will not say, well, you violated the law in Dominica. No, because the Dominican authorities gave you a break. So America is not concerned about that. And so I'm concerned that people are trying to scare people into doing what they want. The other issues involving campaign finance and so on, those are legitimate issues, but they have no relevance to the fact that you have dual citizenship and you are allowed in America to enter into other countries using whatever document you can. But if you're going to leave America, you must leave America with an American passport. If you're going to re-enter America, you must re-enter with an American passport if you have one. Or if you have a visa, you must use the visa. But then the Americans are going to say, well, I need to see which country you use another passport to enter or exit from. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Your perspective, Mr. Lequent, is probably correct, but I too have been given time upon entering Dominica. I, of course, challenged the immigration officer, who simply smiled when I told him if I was to go past the given time, would they come looking for me? All right, 1016. So different views there. 4493095. So some people are treated as visitors, some people are treated as American citizens. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, Matt.
Morning to you.
Matt, I am a frequent traveler.
Yeah.
And when I come to Dominica, they ask me where I am going to, which village I'm going to, and they ask me what is the purpose of coming to Dominica. Are you coming on a business or are you coming as a visitor? And they mark visitor on my visa, on my paper.
Okay.
So that is true. When you come down, according to the immigration officer you meet, they do ask you the kind of questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I guess it depends on the immigration officer you speak to, huh?
Good morning, Matt.
Yes.
Marlon is right. I think with this Trump administration, we need to get a lot of clarity on laws because many of the laws have been there and they have not been enforced. Here's my situation. I am presently living in Jamaica. I have an American passport and a Dominican passport. When I leave Jamaica to go to America, I have to present my American passport at the Jamaican airport. When I get into America, I have absolutely no problems. When I'm getting back out from Jamaica, from America to Jamaica, I present my Dominican passport. When I get into Jamaica, if I present my American passport, the immigration is going to automatically give me 3 months to stay in that country. If I present my Dominican passport, automatically I get 6 months. Let's go to Dominica. If I'm leaving America or when I left America and went to Dominica on vacation, and I presented my American passport, the immigration department officer in Dominica, even though he sees nationality on my American passport, Dominican, he's asking me, how long am I going to remain in the country? And if I tell him a month, 2 months, that's the time he gives me. However, if I get in and I show him my Dominican passport, I have absolutely no problem. So that is my situation.
All right, 1019.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunglass juices, Topper snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
If you know your favorite store, dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega Deals. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram as Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us. Visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
Bloombox Home and Garden Center, 66 Federation Drive, Goodwill, for your agriculture tools and accessories, plants, seeds, an array of plant pots, automated irrigation systems and installation, garden maintenance service, and so much more. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call or WhatsApp us at 235-3480. Follow us on Facebook, Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
Oh, arguments on both sides, huh? Trying to get to the experts at this time. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yeah?
Briefly, and there are no arguments on both sides. Briefly, though, if I embark on a flight in Dominica that is going directly to the U.S., the airline will not allow me to embark if I don't have a right to enter America. Okay? So I can leave them because my Dominican passport, but the airline, on the law, is not allowed to allow me to fly without a document that says you can enter America. So if I try to leave Dominica with my Dominican passport and I cannot show my American passport, the airline cannot allow me to fly. It's as simple as that. So that is where I would have to use my American, I have to at least show my American passport in Dominica in order to leave, because if I don't, the airline will probably, I think that's true, but don't quote me. I think the airline could face fines if it brings someone to America that they know has no right to enter America.
All right, caller, thank you very much. 10:24, and a lot more calls are coming in here. A lot more voice tools are coming. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Matt,
Yes.
I support Marlon's point of view. And I would like Marlon to know that we can work on this together. We can work on that delegation together. Because these American diasporans who continuously break the law, they should be stopped by any means and at all costs. They should be stopped because they know they are doing something wrong. They know they are violating the rights of the Dominican people by way of their vote. They know that they are violating the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica. But because there is an corrupt prime minister in place, they will do it, Matt. It's time for that to stop. And I'm willing to be part of any delegation that will stop these people. Dominicans need to breathe. Our country needs to breathe. These people have destroyed our country with their wickedness and their party political allegiance to corruption. That is what they have done, Matt. Matt, do you know that there is an aspect of the citizenship, Matt, in terms of the ceremony? When you take that oath, Matt, it clearly tells you that if Dominica, which is our birth country, and America are in a state of war, we, the American citizens, the very same ones from Dominica, the Dominica citizens who became American citizens, we have to take up arms against Dominica.
That's true.
Because our allegiance is to the United States of America. So if it goes, to define that, how is it that we want to make it comfortable when we want to commit an illegal act, when we want to go home and defraud the elections in Dominica, when we want to go home and impose our hegemony on the Dominican people? How is it that we are not mindful of all those things when we know for a fact that it is there? We know exactly what we are doing. The people who go home to vote in Dominica's elections, they are sabotagers and they are breaking the law in Dominica. And if it needs be that we have to form a delegation and go to Donald Trump, although I don't like the man, but I will go to put a halt to these sabotagers who talk about enfranchisement and exercising our rights and what have you. What about the rights of the Dominican people? To vote in an election and to wind up with the accurate results. The Dominican people who stayed back in Dominica and who are suffering the grinds, the day-to-day grinds, into making ends meet, cannot make ends meet. They have to suffer all forms of indignation and crisis after crisis. Don't they have rights too? It's time we put a stop to that. Thank you, Matt. Matt, are you hearing Mr. Lequent as a lawyer? Is he a practicing attorney? I wonder what is his clientele like? How many cases has he won? Matt, this man is talking about that if the authorities give you a break, you, the citizen, you know what the law is. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And it's not about the government giving you a break, the authorities giving you a break to vote. You know what the law is, and you breaking the law. In the same manner, he said, if Americans drive on whatever side, when they come to Dominica, if you can drive on the other side. I don't even understand what kind of analogy is that he's trying to explain there, Matt. But you have an obligation as a citizen to uphold the law, to obey the law, whether the authorities enforce it or not, as a citizen, it is your obligation to obey the law. Because you know why? It is we the people who power up the Constitution and not the authorities who power the Constitution. It is we the people. We the people have to obey the law or the Constitution, so that the Constitution can be effective. Okay? Because you know what, Matt? The Constitution was drafted on the inalienable rights of we, the people. Thank you.
All right, somebody says an Ivorian woman who was caught and denied entry into the United States because she left the country without a visa using her Ivorian passport to enter Cote d'Ivoire and then attempted to return to the U.S. with an American passport. Apparently, the immigration officer asked how she entered Cote d'Ivoire, and when she replied, she said she used her Ivorian passport. The officer confiscated her U.S. passport, telling her that she did not need it if she was using her Ivorian one. Legally, the officer was right. U.S. law states if you are U.S. citizens with multiple passports, you must use the American passport to enter and exit the United States. Previously, many Africans ignored this rule, but under the Trump administration, which has strict immigration policies targeting even legal immigrants from Black, South African American, and Asian backgrounds, immigration officers are enforcing the law more strictly. The immigration landscape has changed significantly, and previously overlooked practices are now being strictly punished. Please warn anyone you know who engages in this practice to avoid trouble. This may shed some light on the discussion this morning. There, 4493. So if you're an American, you live in America, please use your American passport, and if you enter Dominica, please use your American passport. This is what this caller is basically indicating this time. Hello, talk to me on the telephone.
Hello, Max.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Guys, I like to be educated.
Okay.
I want you to ask, not his name, the lawyer who spoke a while ago, Mr. Liquin. Okay, he spoke about laws. What I want to know, if you break a law, so you break one of our laws in Dominica, right?
Okay.
Whether it's election law, whatever laws we have, and you break that law, who is responsible to ensure that the law you broke, that you stay within the law, you do what you have to do? So if you break that law, who is responsible to ensure that if you break that law, what happens? What happens? I want him to answer me, please, because I like to be educated. Thanks.
All right, caller. Let's see if we can get to Mr. Dion George. I've been trying. Of course, he's a political scientist there, living in Atlanta, trying to get him on the telephone at this time. Mr. George, I know you're waiting for the call this morning. Hello? The phone is still ringing.
Hello, good morning.
Mr. George, good morning to you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you, Matt Pelty. Nice hearing your voice.
Nice hearing your voice, too. I'm sure you've been following the discussion this morning. What's your thoughts on what you're hearing?
Well, first of all, I want to say that it's a healthy conversation.
Okay.
I also think that we are not arguing or we're not saying who is right or wrong.
Right.
I think it's very informative for the public to hear different views on what is currently going on in the U.S. and how it affects the Dominican public. That's number one.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing I would like to say, please, if you just allow me, I would like to give my regards for Mr. Gabriel Christian and Sam Christian and his entire family for the passing of their mom. Yeah.
Okay.
I would like the Dominican public to sympathize with them. Now, on the issue of the discussion that you're having, which is a healthy discussion, I don't think it's an argument. People have different views. And there are some facts that I would like to relate to. The first fact I would like to relate to is the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. You know, when I teach, I ask the students, why are you a citizen? They say, because I was born here. I say, really? There are people who have born in the United States, Matt, who are not citizens of the United States. Remember slaves and even after slavery. What gives people citizenship is the 14th Amendment. And it says, and I quote, perhaps not verbatim, but perhaps paraphrasing. It says, all persons who are born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States with all privileges and immunities of citizens. That's number one. That's the first thing I would like to start with on this discussion. So the 14th Amendment, which was passed in 1868, that's after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1864, it gave citizenship to persons who were born in the United States. That's the 14th Amendment. And so if you are born in the United States, you're a citizen. Now, to bring things to the gist of what I think is going on here with this discussion, I think the current president, Mr. Trump, is trying to change that. And myself and Mr. Gabriel Christian, we had a discussion about it, and I said, Gabriel, that's impossible. He cannot do an executive order and say, for example, that persons that were to visit the United States and have a child, that the child is not a U.S. citizen. He said, Dion, be careful. For that to happen, it would require congressional law. The Congress had to pass it. It had to change the Constitution because the 14th Amendment is there already since in 1868. What Gabo is saying is, even if it failed at Congress, it can go to the Supreme Court. And at the Supreme Court now, I think it's like a 5-4 or maybe 6-3. Is there 9 judges? And I think, and I think Trump thinks that if it have to get to court for it to happen, he might be able to push it through. That persons who are born here doesn't necessarily give you citizenship. This is very serious, you know. Concerning the other discussion that you had with ICE, I think Mr. Giroudel, I think he made a very good point. ICE is actually enforcing the laws that have always existed. It's just what it is. The US have immigration laws, and under Barack Obama, believe it or not, he deported a lot of people too. Biden did as well. What Trump is doing, so in public policy, I teach a class at Clark Atlanta where it's called public policy. There is, you find the problem. So you recognize the concern, then you implement proposals to deal with it, and then you enforce it. What Trump is doing there now with the ICE thing, he's enforcing it. He's just going straight out. How does that affect the Dominica and the wider Caribbean and Latin America? The view is, I think a lot of people will have to watch for themselves. They might be deported. They are really going out and looking for persons that they can get. Yeah, and so it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But just for the wider view of your discussion this morning, I would say that the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution purports that if you are born and you are naturalized in the United States, you're a citizen with all privileges and immunities of citizens. I don't know how executive order can change that. Yeah, I know why you want to change that. You know, it's because you want to see people come in America, have their child and go back, and the child is a citizen. Yeah, he's really against immigrants.
But let me ask a question, Mr. George, because I think we spoke about a lot. That when you leave America, you need to leave with the U.S. passport, and when you're re-entering, I think that's a big argument. You need to re-enter with the U.S. passport as well. How much of an effect you being a dual citizen have on your voting rights in another country if you are a dual citizen? That's, I think, the point that everybody's trying to push right now.
Okay, so let me just try to clarify very clearly what you're saying. So you're saying 2 things. One, the idea of dual citizenship to exit and to come back to the United States.
Yes.
And then I think the second part of your question is the issue of
your voting rights.
Your voting rights. Okay, good. Right. One, you cannot enter the United States with a Dominican passport, even if you're a dual citizen. That's number one. Number two, yes, you can live on your Dominican passport if you want, if you so choose. Because when you enter Dominica, you are a dual citizen. Dominica will accept you. Absolutely, yes. But I dare you to try to enter the US on your Dominican passport. That's no. You best use your US passport. That's number one. On the issue of the voting rights, okay, here we go again. The issue is Dominica has its own laws, and the laws that exist currently, as we still rubble through the electoral reform, the laws that exist right now is that if one were to stay overseas for over 5 years, they are not eligible to vote. That is the law. I think it's very simple, right? The other view is now we are talking about residency. What does that mean? Well, essentially, the idea of someone staying overseas for 5 years and they are not eligible, but if they were to come down for 1 day, within that 5 years, they can vote and go back. And I think that is the gray area that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with, right? Yes. And so we're talking about reform. And what reform means simply is to let's try to make it better. So we came up with a term called residency. And the term residency simply means that you have to be a resident. So, for example, Matt comes to New York, but he wants to go to college. Can he get in-state tuition? The answer is no. Now, if he stays there, he's a citizen, and he stays there for whatever is their residency qualifications, 18 months, say, for example, then he is qualified to be a resident. And that's what we are saying. So the persons who come to Dominica after 5 years, are you a resident? The answer is no. You're not a resident. You do not live there. That's not your domicile. That's not where you live. And so the answer to the question is, can we reform the laws of voting in Dominica that persons who vote are actual residents? That's a place they live, a place they work, and so forth. All right? Not big, yes, and just that's what it is, you know. Not because you're a citizen and you never come there in 10 million years. You just come now and you say you're going to vote now, my brother. No. You have to, and I think it's unfair to the persons who live in Dominica. I think it's very unfair that persons who can live overseas can come and make a vote and then change who rules them. And I just think it's unfair. So I would like the Prime Minister and the listening public to understand the view that we should establish residency. We should, and again, it's not being political. I think it's a healthy educational discussion that establish residency. So yes, the people who call from overseas and says that they have a right to vote. Yes, you have a right to vote if you are a resident, sir or ma'am. Yeah, that's my view. And so let's just put it in simple terms. Persons from overseas who are Dominican citizens, of course, you're welcome to vote. No one is going to disenfranchise you. Or the simple thing we are saying is let it be legal. Legal meaning, are you a resident? Do you live there? Do you work there? Do you stay there? That's number one. And number two, before I leave, there's a nasty habit that has been happening in Dominica where persons who do not belong in a certain district, in a certain voting constituency, can go and vote in another constituency. All these things are very illegal. Illegal, my friend. Illegal. Yeah. And I think the government has to be called to judge, and we have to fix it. And that's the whole topic of electoral reform. This is just my view, just to give a synopsis. I don't know what Donald Trump thinks he's doing, but I know the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution says every person who is born and unnaturalized in the United States is a citizen with every privilege. I think ICE is going full force on enforcing what they're doing. It's very unfair to some people. Because you see, Matt, some persons, it's not their fault, you know. Your mom brought you to the United States. She had to struggle, and then you stayed over your visa, and now you're illegal. But it's not your fault, you know. And so Barack Obama did what is called DACA, I think is deferred child thing. And he said, well, it's not their fault, you know, so help them on a path to some sort of legal thing, not necessarily citizenship, but some path of legal, documentation where they can work and go to school and stuff like that, you know. I think Trump is totally going against all of that. ICE is enforcing it. It's a very sad situation in the US. I really hope my points made some sense, you know.
All right, thank you, Dr. George. Thank you very much. Thank you for putting some things in perspective here. Good morning. A Dominican-born political scientist from Bowie. Say hi to your mom this morning, Dr. George. On the telephone, 1044. Talk to me, yes? Uh-huh.
Mr. Thursday, morning.
Morning to yourself.
Mr. Thursday, right now I'm so tired of trying to negotiate, so to speak, of getting electoral reform in Dominica. And I want to give full support. You see, right now, I'm at the point where I give full support to Trump for deporting people, especially Dominican people. Because, Matt, you know what I'm tired about? You live in the U.S., you live in a first world country where education is top-notch and everything. And my brother, we have to spend 20 years trying to understand what is residency and who should vote and cannot vote. And these people saying that they live in the U.S. and they live in first world country and where things are better. And you cannot even have a simple understanding of this electoral reform stuff. What sense you are in the U.S. then? Ship your ass to Dominica. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So I am here and I'm listening to this thing and I'm tired. People need to start showing their disgust. How are you going to be a human being and for 20 years trying to educate somebody on one thing, my brother? That's to tell you backward. You're not moving forward. If you cannot overcome a thing within 20 years, my brother, where are you going in life? Your whole life already gone on you. And not only that, it's only one man that they're causing this confusion, you know, and that is Roosevelt Skerrit, you know, the demon. What I'm saying is that Roosevelt Skerrit have no good intention of giving Dominicans electoral reform because just recently when Byron gave his report, it was Roosevelt Skerrit and his cabal that went wrong Dominica telling people, go on podium, say we don't need electoral reform and all these different things. So how do you expect to get electoral reform from a man that already fighting it before you can have it? My brother, if people don't rise up. Anyway, later.
All right, thank you very much. 1046. I was directed. I'll try to see if Mr. Ambassador Curtis Ward, I think he's a Jamaican, he specialized in immigration, and I will try to get him a little later on this Q95, the big station. It'll put some things in perspective here. Let's take a few phone calls before we move. Hello, talk to me. We have, yes?
Matt, good morning again.
Morning to you.
Let me first of all say that I am in no way in favor of people who don't meet the residency requirements coming to Dominica to vote at will when it suits them.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Dion George, if you're listening, I want to present a scenario to you. So if somebody is a U.S. citizen, okay, and they come to Dominica every year, so that would mean they meet the residency requirement currently, and they pay their passage themselves, and they come down to Dominica to vote. Dr. George, is that a problem in the eyes of the law, the immigration law of the U.S.? And I am going to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they would be voting legally in Dominica because they are meeting the requirement. They have address in Dominica. They're in Dominica every year, and they pay their own way to come to Dominica to vote. Dr. George, if you are listening, I want an explanation to this scenario, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll try Dr. George a little later. But we have 12 minutes, huh? We have 12 minutes. I'm going to try to get Ambassador Ward sometime later to speak to some of the immigration issues that we're having at this time. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Good morning, Nasa Expensive.
How are you?
I'm fine. I hope you had a restful weekend.
I tried.
I heard Mr. Liquent is his name.
Mm-hmm, Mr. Liquent, yes.
The gentleman
Yeah.
said, if you come in And even though the law is there and the government gives you a break, I don't understand his rationale. How can, no, he didn't say government, sorry, the authorities.
The authorities.
How can the authorities give you a break to break the law, to do something which is illegal? So if the law is there, I believe those who are empowered to enforce the law should enforce it. The police, the the presiding officer, whoever at the poll or something like that. That is how I look at it. Not to the lady who called and said she is willing to join Marlon Giro there.
Yes.
Matchit was right on point when she called them saboteurs. And that's what they are, saboteurs. Now they talk about three things. Their rights to vote, they cannot be disenfranchised, and they're sending down remittances. Let me take them one at a time. Their rights to vote, yes. You come down, you have been visited Dominica within the last 5 years, yes, it is your right to vote. But if you come and you're going to vote in a place where you have not been domiciled, I am from Layo, I've been in Dominica, I've been away I've visited the island within the last 5 years. But I live in Inwana. Should I be allowed to vote in Layo? No, I cannot be allowed to vote in Layo. That is one. The second one, disenfranchisement. If you live here and you go you go overseas in search of greener pastures, you did not come back. You did not meet the requirements. You are not being disenfranchised. And the third one, remittances. Who they send the remittances to? They are people. Your mother, your father, whoever it is.
Family, yes.
Finally, send you to school. You are not obligated to look about them. When you send their remittances to them, they share it with me. So because you send their remittances to them, you are allowed to infringe on my rights. And talking about infringe, yesterday I was at Bell's. There was a lady always buying dashing from, and I didn't see any dashing on her. So I said, "Hey, I want any dashing." And so she looked at me, she not answering. I say, "Yeah, you're not printing dashing anymore." She tell me, "Look on the hill there. You see the amount of dashing there? All that is mine, and I haven't sold a bag." These are the people that have been disenfranchised. Thank you very much, Matt, and have a good
Thank you very much. Dominica, it's 10:51, 9 minutes, 45 seconds to the hour of 11 o'clock. We're wrapping up. And I'm going to try during my break to get in touch with Ambassador Ward as we can get a clarification on some of the immigration issues there. On the telephone, hello, talk to me, yes?
Yeah, just quickly, one by one. If I commit a crime in Dominica, an American court has no jurisdiction over me. I will be tried in Dominica for my crime. So that's what it means by you being in a country to follow its laws. Number two, Mr. George raised an important point, which is the problem I have had in Dominica trying to discuss this with people. If you allow people who live in Portsmouth to go back to Roseau and vote, and you do that all the time, which is a violation of Dominica's election laws, because you should vote in the place where you reside, it is very difficult to then make the claim that someone overseas has no place of residence, because you have vitiated the whole thing about residence in the country itself. There is no way someone who lives in Portsmouth should be voting in Roseau, because they don't live in Roseau. But you all have allowed it for years to go on. And that is the problem that you run against. When you allow the law to be violated on a little point, it then jams up against you when a bigger point arises. That's all.
All right, Mr. LeQuinn, thank you very much. It's 10:53. Talk to me. 7 more minutes to go. 7 more minutes. Hello there.
Yes, Matt, good morning.
My brother, how are you?
I'm fine. Matt, several times this morning I've been listening to all the different conversations going on.
Okay.
But I will share my experience with you. Matt, how many times I already get problem with immigration officers in Dominica for asking me how long I'm coming for?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, but my brother, you have a Dominica passport in your hand, and you asking me how long I'm coming for in my country. And I never understand why these guys and them always asking me how long I coming for in my own country. Until I spoke to an immigration officer one-on-one, and he told me it's because in your passport, you have a return ticket in your passport. So wherever you come from, it means that you're going back. Now, the only time you can have a return ticket is because you either a resident of the country or a national of the country. That is the only time you can get a return ticket to go back in the country.
Okay.
Because no airline will not sell a return ticket for you if you're not a resident or a national in for that country. And that is the reason why I understand why they keep asking me how long I come in my own country from. And then I start questioning them. Then I realize that they realize I am a resident. Now, I am qualified to get a Dutch passport as a Dutch citizen, a Dutch resident. I am a Dutch resident. I am permanent resident for the Dutch country.
Okay.
But because I am a resident, after 10 years, I can apply for a Dutch passport because I am permanent resident for more than 10 years. But when they told me that I have to get a stamp of residence out of Dominica, but do you know what that means? A stamp of residence out of your country? That means you're no longer a resident in Dominica. Now, it's not only for the Dutch country. Once you get a foreign passport, you must get a stamp of residence out of Dominica. So that means you no longer reside in Dominica. That's why they ask me for a stamp. That is the only reason why I don't have a Dutch passport today, because I refuse to get a stamp of residence out of my country. And that is one of the reasons why I'm in Dominica today. Because I choose to come back to my country instead. So you're telling me now, because you have a foreign passport, and all it's saying, born Dominica, it's not saying nationality Dominica. It's saying born Dominica. It's only giving your place of birth. But once you have the passport, my brother, use a national of the country wherever you live in, where you have the passport for. So which means you automatically give up your right from voting in Dominica. And if you want that right back, you have to come back in Dominica and live for 6 months and be a resident in Dominica so that you can get back your right to vote. You know, tell me you cannot vote because you're Dominican, but you have to claim that right back. And have a good day.
Have a good day myself. My friend, hello. It's 10:56. We have 4 more minutes, and of course, we'll continue there in the Talk on the Block. This is Matt in the morning. This is the Talk on the Block. Sorry, the hot seat. There's so many confusions there. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. The hot seat. Are you there?
Yes, Matt. Morning.
Morning to you.
Yes. Now, there was one gentleman who called earlier, and he said for 20 years, we've been talking about the same thing about electoral reform.
Right.
There was this lady who called also, and she said she wants Mr. George to call back and give her some information on what he spoke about before. The lady said that she comes to Dominica
every year
3 or 4 times a year. But the lady has to understand, Mr. George explained it before about residency. And if this lady comes to Dominica 3 or 4 times a year, the lady has to understand that doesn't make her a resident in Dominica. So why is she asking Mr. George to come back to explain? This is the problem that we have. The people who live overseas, they are not breaking the law of the country overseas, but they want to keep coming to Dominica and break the law and have all excuses for what Roosevelt Skerrit is doing. My lady, you better stay where you are. You reside overseas. You come to Dominica 3 or 4 times. You does not reside here. Stay overseas and let the people who live in Dominica deal with Dominica, because we are the ones living here. We are the ones that know what's happening here. You pay taxes here. Matt, have a nice day.
Have a nice day. And this is how we wrap it up here this morning there on the Hot Seat, Dominica's most talked about talk show, of course. I'm going to leave you with this one from Joy. We have more to talk about when we return here. At 1 o'clock, the Talk on the Block. The most talked about talk show in the morning, the Hot Seat. We call Q95 the University on Wheels, huh?
Some people believe that they're greater than you and I. and I wonder why. And they getting on as though they will never die. Only you and I wonder why. Nothing here will last forever. This should serve as a reminder. All who playing holy and mighty, we send them their fame and their money. When the master call, no ducking at all, prepare for your funeral. The ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. The ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. There will be no exemption, no extension when the master call, when the master call. No friend could save you, no church could bail you when the master call, when the master call. When you got to go, you got to go. No doctor can say no. I steady ground that we walking on. One day will be your rule. Be careful how you treat other people. My people, treat people right. You could be the world's richest tycoon, be a skyscraper on the sun and moon, create all kinds of man-made disease, but God has the keys, and you must pay your fees. No place to run, no place to hide, and the great man don't accept bribes. You could buy and trade the whole world, in the end you still lose the soul. You better get it right before your final flight, cause there will be a flight. Steady ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. Woo! The ground that we walking on, one day will be your rule. There'll be no immunity from sinful or holy when the master call, when the master call. No special favor for the children of master when the master call, when the master call. When you got to go, you got to go. No doctor can say no. I steady ground that we walking on. One day will be your rule. Oh, be careful how you treat other people.